review. So, opening day of Gladiator II was today, Thursday, November 21st, and your girl could not be more excited. I don't get excited for movies very often. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I want to see that. But baby, Gladiator II with the GOAT, Denzel Washington. No, he's not stepping in the ring, but he's definitely racking up Oscars. And there was recently a release that he's only going to do 5 more films, and this was one of the 5. So, who would not want to see this masterpiece unfold? Let's get into Gladiator II, a movie review. And who am I? My name is Carla DuPont. I am a romance novelist, ghostwriter, and publisher. I help people take their books from a thought in their head to a book in their hand. Together with my team, we have self-published over 220 books. So this movie review is coming from that purview of an author, storyteller, and Story Wars champion. So we are going to talk about overall plot, and character development. Funny story. When Gladiator 1 came out, my roommate, I believe, bought me the DVD because I love the movie so much. And we watched it every day for like 3 months. So I called her and I was like, girl, you want to go see Gladiator 2? And she was like, when? Opening day. Say less. Let's get tickets. All right, let's go. And that was that. The movie begins with a love story, and we are quickly thrust into the throes of ancient war. And when I tell you your girl loves a period piece, I am all for it. The daggers, the headbutting, the biting, blood flying everywhere, people being unalived for their country. Yes, I'm here for all of that. And there's this epic fight scene, land versus sea. By the time we got to the third weapon of choice, which was the bow and arrow, I was completely in love. I'm talking, I could actually feel myself smiling. I was so excited. Like, yes, a war for Rome. There's a beautiful visual symphony of black plumes of smoke, fire flying through the sky, these huge wooden ships being propelled by slaves underneath them, with the oars, and archery and the big old fireballs. Like, it just was a beautiful wide shot of ancient wartime. I mean, but of course, what else did I expect from Gladiator 2? But the wars not only rage like army against army, but then you have hand-to-hand combat scenes. The gladiator versus another, what do they call them? Oh, gladiator. But there's the new gladiator, Gladiator 2, fighting against an older gladiator who is very well esteemed and established in his rank in gladiatorship. Anyway, new gladiator, established gladiator, hand-to-hand combat. So guttural, so barbaric. I understand why they call them barbarians throughout the movie. We have our Gladiator 2, new gladiator on the scene. Nobody knows who he is, where he comes from. And an established gladiator who everybody is expecting to win the fight. So it's kind of like, oh, we'll watch it. It'll be entertaining, but we already know who's going to win. And you just see them go at it. But of course, they can't just fight. And I remember thinking, gosh, that's a little space for them to fight. It's literally like a house party with a fight in the living room. So everybody's gathered around the living room to watch these two men fight to the death. And they keep it contained, and then they start knocking over food and knocking over wine and breaking marble tables. Like, did you really just throw his body into the table and the whole marble slab broke? It was funny, but it just reminds you of how barbaric ancient times were. Like, people are fighting to the death for entertainment. So crazy. The original Gladiator, Maximus, his wife is present. And when she turned around, I was like, oh, hey, girl. She looks good, too. Very well preserved over these last 20 plus years. She's been doing her facials, getting her Korean skincare, glass skin. She looks really, really good. So there is a scene in the Colosseum, a fighting scene, where the new gladiator puts his hand in the sand. Well, he doesn't do it. He does it like that. He grabs the sand and rocks right before battle. And my mind instantly went back to the original Gladiator. So they do a very good job of mirroring the original Gladiator with the new Gladiator. So even if you don't remember exactly what happened 20 something years ago, if you weren't able to watch it, leading up to it, they let you know, like, hey, we're taking a page from the old book, but we put a little spin on it, put a little salt on it, got that thing all sauced up, and we're giving it back to you. My brain started working, and I was like, wait, this looks familiar. Okay, something profound but understated is about to happen. And that is exactly what happened. Maximus's widow hears a poem, albeit it's incorrect, but when she hears it, her brain goes, poof. And at the same time, my brain went, poof. I was like, oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. I can't believe they did this. And because I didn't have any expectations other than it being a great film, I was pleasantly surprised with how they circled right on back to the original, tying the two together. I mean, of course, there's going to be some kind of thick, breaded line that tethers the two movies together, but I don't think you're ready for what that tether is. It is at that point with the brain synapse that the plot thickens. I was like, OMG, this is good. And I said it out loud. The guy on the side of me, he was like 2 seats over. He heard me and he laughed. He was like, yeah, it is. Because we both had that epiphany moment at the same time. And it was just like, okay, so what else are they going to give us? Because there's so much more movie after the plot gets thickened. Now you're trying to figure out, like, okay, what's going to happen? Who's going to betray who? Who's going to be loyal to who? Who's going to die? Like, oh, wait, we need this person to live because they're carrying the plot. Psych yo, Barry. It was the plot really got thick really quickly. Side note, how the hell did they get sharks in the Colosseum in ancient times? Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, anyway. And of course, what period piece would be a period piece without a coup? Some kind of ambitious, risky scheme to overthrow the powers that be, overthrow the government. And this is where Denzel comes in. Okay, but hold on. We'll get to that in a minute. At a certain point, I said, how are they having this fight to the death scene when neither one of these characters can die and the movie continue? Like, we still have over an hour left. And my roommate said, yeah, like, what's happening here? And then they killed one of them. And I was like, oh, y'all are shaking the table. Like, they really don't care about your feelings as a viewer. They're going to make you fall in love with these folks and then get rid of them quickly. The movie ends with part of the original score from Gladiator 1. And it was like, oh my gosh. Because the movie is over. There's a clear result, clear winner. And it's just like, oh, damn, it's over. But it really takes you on an emotional ride. I mean, you're excited, you're sad, you're curious, you're wondering, like, what the hell is going on? You feel a little bit heartbroken, but the vengeance and the passion and the anger that threads through the movie over and over, like, you see such a cacophony of emotions, and all of the actors, they go through it. Like, every single actor, their development goes through this range of emotions, and it shows depth and character. It was a really phenomenal movie. It's like 2.5 hours long. Doesn't feel like it at all. Like, you are so dialed in. I would say after, because at first it's like, what's going on? But then after like maybe 5 minutes is like, okay, all right, this is what I came for. And I'm also glad the fight at the end was a fair fight. Thank you for that. Because when they killed Russell Crowe in Gladiator 1, I was all kinds of mad. Like, why did he have to die that way? Not even cool. Not even cool. Now, character development. So we have this new gladiator, a superstar underling who isn't afraid of the powers that be and the people who are in charge. The difference between Gladiator 2 and Gladiator 1 is in Gladiator 1, we knew who the gladiator was. We knew he was a rock star general and he was well respected and had an army of men who loved him. In Gladiator 2, we don't know who this guy is, or maybe I just didn't know who he was. I'm like, okay, like, where are you, sir? Who are you? Where'd you come from? And I believe they're building up to you finding out who his true identity is, or what his true identity is, because even the characters in the movie keep trying to chip away at his background. And he drops little hints, right? Like he starts doing a poem here and he tells the story there. And the way he fights, they're like, whoa, where did you learn that? You know, you didn't learn that where we caught you. Wife is killed in the first 5 minutes. His father is killed. So he's an orphan and this guy found him and took him in, raised him like his own, loved him, and showed him honor and respect. That guy dies like 20 minutes in. So he, Gladiator 2, wants to vindicate his father's murder. But you can tell his anger is misguided. The vengeance is misguided, but it's fueling him to keep going, right? And I hope, oh my goodness, I hope he realizes his anger is pointed at the wrong person before it's too late. And thankfully he does. He realizes it right when he's literally at the person's throat. But you gotta watch to see what happens after that. And through his character, we are empathetic for what he's going through. Once you realize who he is and the pedigree he has, but even more so his background, you're really empathetic for his character. He's not looking for you to be empathetic. He just wants to vindicate his father and, die. He doesn't even care to be free. Like, he's giving money for winning and he's like, I don't care about this. This doesn't mean anything to me. You can tell he is a genuinely good guy and he takes after his father. But it's very evident that he isn't with the BS. He just wants to restore honor to those who it belongs to. And in that, he has not gotten over being abandoned, which I think is a key thread in the movie. Like, he still harbors anger for being an orphan. And he feels like his parents just literally left him for dead. He's not an orphan because his parents died. He's an orphan because somebody gave him away, but he was old enough to remember who gave him away. But the why doesn't matter because he was a child. And as a child, you don't really think, oh, my parents gave me away because they loved me. My parents were trying to save my life. My parents wanted me to have a better life. You just think my parents are alive and they gave me up. Like, why did they give me up? And so that abandonment wound comes out and you see this young man who, I don't know his name, never seen him before acting anything, but he is a tremendous actor. Like, he really turns up in that scene and it makes you really feel empathetic to his character and who he is. He's angry, he's hurt, he's passionate. And between his wife, him being an orphan, his wife dying, his father dying, he's just like, oh my gosh, what is my life about? Like, I don't even have anything to live for. So let me just vindicate Pops and get on up out of here. Denzel Washington. I am not into older guys, but Denzel Washington is giving us a whole Silver Fox, Silver Daddy moment.
What is your native language? I speak them all.
Vanquish city of Numidia.
Several of them, in fact. I have to be honest. Originally, I thought his character is not going to evolve much because I was comparing him to the mirror version of that character in Gladiator 1. But then I thought they are not going to waste an A-list A+++ actor like Denzel Washington in a flaccid role. So his character has to evolve. I was just waiting on the uptick. The way they introduce him, it's just like, oh, okay. So you really don't even think he's going to be one of the main characters. If it wasn't Denzel, whoever was in that role, you wouldn't have thought they were going to evolve or uptick, but he shows out. It was giving very much
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
and to that point, I won't even say Denzel Washington's character evolved. I would say he was revealed. As the movie continued, we see him on screen longer and longer intervals, right? So at first it's just like, oh, okay, it's Denzel Washington. But as it continues to go, you're like, wait a minute, hold on, what's happening here? You see him turn into this version of him that you don't think is going to come out. He's telling people what he wants them to do. He's manipulating situations to get his way. He's showing out. He's acting braggadocious, and his role, it just becomes more and more robust and involved. And it's like, oh my goodness. In the beginning, I was rooting for him, and I told my dates, I said, I hope he doesn't die like the mirror character in Gladiator 1, because the role he's playing, that person died in Gladiator 1. But the more he went on, I was like, man, he is tripping. What is going on with bro? Like, for real.
The remaining emperors here. I can speak logic to it. And tame the madness in the street. I must have power. And command over the Praetorian army.
The movie is 2.5 hours long, but it doesn't feel that. You are drawn in, and just when you start to think you can rest and kind of cool down, there's another betrayal. And then you think you can rest and cool down, and then they throw in another monkey wrench. And you can, okay, all right, I know where this is going. And it's like, oh, no, you don't. The actors are really good. They draw you in. I promise you, this plot is absolutely worth. I haven't seen a movie with the plot this good in a while. And I may be biased because I really, really like the original. On a scale of 1 to 5 stars, I give Gladiator II 6 stars. If you love period pieces, if you fawned over Gladiator 1, if you like to see people fighting for honor, action, and blood flying all through the air, I'm telling you, this is the movie for you. You will not regret it. That 2.5 hours is going to it's going to fly by so fast. You will be really, really entrenched in the story. You'll love the actors' acting skills, their prowess. And to be honest, I'm probably going to go back tomorrow and watch it again, because now I'm thinking maybe I missed, well, you know how that goes.